So I'm finding out this morning that the one of the moderators, the lady that was up there, is actually Kamala's sorority sister. So you have the sorority sister, and then you have her best friend that is one of the execs. So now we know why there was a 3-on-1 debate. So we know that it was a biased debate. No questions asked. So you're celebrating for nothing because she never did get to her policy. She never answered any questions. They never fact checked her on anything. I want to bring something else to your attention, because a lot of people are distorted in knowing what a real leader is. See, Trump is a real leader. A real leader is not perfect by any means. For my Christians out there, you know David in the Bible wasn't perfect. You know Paul wasn't perfect. Noah wasn't perfect. Solomon wasn't perfect. Abraham wasn't perfect. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. King Cyrus. None of those leaders were perfect, but nonetheless, they were leaders. See, a leader shows up. They don't hide from the people. She's saying that she's a part of the people. Then where were you for 3.5 years? You didn't show up. You didn't show up for the families that was in Afghanistan. You didn't show up. All you did was hid behind the keyboard all weekend and talk about the real leader that showed up. You didn't show up to the border. Trump went to the border, even though he wasn't president. He showed up to the border. And for all you black people out there, she didn't even show up to the NABJ. Trump showed up to the NABJ. You know, so the only leader that's perfect was Jesus Christ. But even back then, in his day, they would have called him an imperfect leader because he didn't concede to their itching of ears and what they wanted to do. He wasn't all about optics. All he was about his father's business, standing on the truth. That's what Jesus was about. He's the only perfect leader. But you know, Satan, they manipulate you with flattery. That's what Satan does. He makes you, they polish themselves up to deceive you. See, Satan is the father of lies. Jesus is the conveyor of truth. And that's what we need during this time. It's time to rise up and speak out against the evil of the atrocities of this party. The manipulation, the gaslighting, it has to stop. And black people, y'all are sitting up here and y'all supporting this stuff. And this woman said that she wasn't doing nothing for black folks. She was locking up black men in jail left and right. And y'all still want to back her. So she's saying that it's time for a change. She is completely right. I 100% agree. It's time for a change, and it's time to get your administration, fire her administration, and move in Trump into the White House. Y'all, so it's time to put America first instead of having America last. So y'all, let's get out there. We stay prayed up. We need to pray during these rough times and just keep your head on the swivel. And I'll check in with y'all later. All right.
You know, one thing that I do want to highlight with that, I love how she brought it back to the Bible. And just full disclosure, I got some videos coming soon, so stay tuned. And I'll leave you with this. Well, I'm not leaving, but I will say this before we get back into it. As a Christian, if you are a believer in Christ, you can't vote Democrat. They don't align. But anyway, I'm going to get back to this video because I'm going to save that for a later date. All right. Yeah, everybody is talking about what ABC did. What they did was just absolutely despicable. And, you know, the funny part about it is I think it's completely backfiring on them. They thought that they had one on Trump. And in reality, the American people, and I want to go back to what Dr. Ben Carson said when he was talking to, I believe it was Tucker Carlson. I think I made a YouTube short on it as well. And I also put it in a video once too. But he said, this election is going to be a test on the power of mainstream media. This is a test to see if they still have the power, which I don't believe that they do. I mean, somebody like me, for example, you know, on any given day, I have millions of views, and it's literally just me. I don't have any big fancy production team, you know, like mainstream media does. I'm not on national television. I don't have like an advertising budget, right? My background isn't like absolutely perfect. Y'all are always telling me I need to paint the wall back there, right? It's literally just me. And on a daily basis, I have millions of views, millions. And that's kudos to all of you hitting the like button, commenting, sharing the videos. So I do want to take the time to say thank you for all of your love and support, because without you, these videos don't get the views. I mean, I could drop them, but if nobody pays attention and if you guys aren't pushing it in the algorithm by liking, commenting, and sharing them, then it doesn't matter, right? So pat yourselves on the back for that as well, because one of you had said, Rich, you got to make this video go viral. And I was like, trust me, if I had a button that just made the videos go viral, bro, that button would be worn out. Like, I wouldn't be able to press it anymore by this point, because I'd be smashing the crap out that button, you know? But I just want to give you guys a couple examples as to why I think this is actually backfiring. And here's one from Reuters. Check it out.
Reuters found 10 undecided voters who were undecided before the debate and then surveyed them afterwards. Here's what the results of the survey were. 6 of those 10 undecideds now say that they're either going for Trump or they're leaning toward him. 3 have decided to go with Harris. 1 continues to be undecided. 5 people said that Harris was too vague on the economy. And among the Trump converts, some of them said that they didn't like him as a person, but they trusted him more on the economy. And so that's why they'll vote for him.
And that is fascinating information that we're seeing across the board with these undecided voters, especially in swing states.
Now, full disclosure, that's only 10 people. I'm not gonna, put too much stock in that, but I do think that is an overall trend. And I want to show you Rasmussen reports and what they had to say about that, or what their poll showed. Check it out. You see that? And where did Kamala go? Yep. Now, do I think this 6-point lead will hold? No. Do I think Trump's going to win the election by +6 in the popular vote? Absolutely not. No, I'm not delusional, okay? Of course, would I love to get on here and be like, yeah, Trump's going to win by 10 points in the popular vote, guys, which would absolutely be a slaughter in the Electoral College. In the Electoral College, not literally. I don't want anybody to twist my words. That would be devastating for the Democrat Party in an Electoral College. If a Republican won the popular vote by 10, absolutely insane. But no, if I had to put a number on it, I think Trump's going to win the popular vote by 1.2%, 1.5% maybe. Like, it's not going to be anything major, but for a Republican in the Electoral College, you don't even have to win the popular vote to win the. He didn't win the popular vote in 2016 against Hillary, but he won the Electoral College, which is what matters. So if he wins the popular vote, it's most definite that he's winning the Electoral College. But for those of you that are going to say, Rich, that's probably an outlier. All right, cool, fair enough. Hey, here is what Nate Silver had to say, or well, his latest poll at post debate. Here you go. Let me put it on the big screen. Yes, sir. I think pre-debate, I think Trump was at 64%, if I remember correctly. So he's only dropped Trump's probability. Now, this is probability. He's only dropped it by 3 points. So, yeah. 3 points. Not that big of a drop. I get it, to some uneducated folks, it might have looked like Trump lost. To us who know what really happened, and I think this is most people in America, and we'll get into a little bit of that here in a second, we saw what happened. But even if you want to bypass that, right, let's skip all of that. Kamala still isn't where Biden was in 2020.
Up by just 7 points. Look, Kamala Harris is doing somewhat better than that at this point, up by 15 over Donald Trump, but still really lagging where Joe Biden was back in 2020. So Kamala Harris would love extra support from young voters. Maybe Taylor Swift can deliver a few of those. Beyond that, we were talking registration. Look at the key battleground states of Pennsylvania and North Carolina. Look, the Democratic edge over GOP voters at this point in the process. In September of 2020, look at this. In Pennsylvania, Democrats had a 559,000 voter edge. Look where it's dropped now to. They're still ahead, but it's just 169,000. You see the same trend in North Carolina, where you see that drop from 415,000 to now an edge of just 128,000. Democrats still ahead, but Republicans have made massive gains in registration over the past 4 years.
Shout out to Scott Presler. I mean, he's been in Pennsylvania for quite a while now, and look at these numbers. Sure, Democrats still have a lead, but look where they were in 2020. look what they were. Now, just imagine Trump wins, which I fully expect him to, and this isn't me pandering. I've given you guys plenty of videos with lots of evidence as to why I believe he will. I don't just talk out of the side of my neck, okay? Now, we still have to do our part. We still have to keep that pedal to the metal, but I believe he will win. Now, just imagine come 2028 when it's Byron Donalds or Larry Elder. Honestly, I think Larry Elder could be really fantastic. I saw a video of Larry Elder the other day, and I was just reminded of just how phenomenal Larry Elder is. Like the statistics he's able to recall. Bro, could you imagine Larry Elder in a debate versus, I don't know who Democrats are going to throw out there next after Kamala wins? AOC or Gavin Newsom or Shapiro. Could you imagine Larry Elder debating one of these folks? Bro, he would blow him out the water. It wouldn't even be close. Not even close. So if we've closed that kind of gap in those 4 years, this is going to be Republican plus something in both of these states in 2028. Yeah, bro, they are in some deep trouble if they don't win. Like, it's going to be really, really tough for the Democrat Party to win. But Mark Penn, who is a former senior advisor to Clinton, he had something interesting to say about what the ABC did. And I think it's important to highlight this because, boy, if this actually comes out, if this is real, this is devastating. I mean, this right here will be so devastating to Kamala that I believe something big will happen. And I'm trying to be vague on purpose, okay? Because I don't wish anything upon anyone, right? And I definitely don't want any more assassination attempts. But if this story is true, what Mark Penn is talking about right here, Kamala's cooked. Democrats are done. The establishment is over. So expect a big event. If that's the power cutting off, if that's WW3, because they're just like, all right, F it. We just about to send them. You know, if that's, hey, we about to throw a new bug on y'all, you know, new virus on y'all. If that's another, I'm not going to mention that one. But yeah, I'm just going to put this on the screen. Check it out. So, Mark Penn, a former senior advisor to Clinton, has called for an internal investigation into ABC, accusing them of rigging the debate against Trump. And this is what he had to say. Quote, I will be releasing an affidavit from an ABC whistleblower regarding the debate. I have just signed a non-disclosure agreement with the attorney of the whistleblower. The affidavit states how the Harris campaign was given sample questions, which were essentially the same questions that were given during the debate, and separate assurances of fact-checking Donald Trump and that she would not be fact-checked. Accordingly, the affidavit states several other factors that were built into the debate to give Kamala a significant advantage. I have seen and read the affidavit, and after the attorney blacks out the name of the whistleblower and other information that could dox the whistleblower, I will release the full affidavit. I will be releasing the affidavit before the weekend is out. Yeah, devastating. And listen, this sounds believable to me. Am I going to get my hopes up? No, I'm not. But this sounds believable. That sounds extremely believable. That they colluded with one another, especially when you got Kamala's sorority sister up there, right? And the fact that they were fact-checking Trump and not fact-checking Kamala, and I could bring up instances off the top of my head. Project 2025, they didn't fact-check her. The good people on both sides, they didn't fact-check her, right? What else was there? There were several other instances of her saying something and them not fact-checking her, but it's okay if you want to fact check Trump. Sure. Trump is not above criticism. And I've always said that. Trump deserves to be criticized just like everybody else. But that's the thing. Everybody else isn't criticized. And that's where I have the problem with it. If you're going to criticize Trump, fine. I'll be right there with you. But criticize everybody else equally too. Until then, I'm going to have something to say about it. But, you know, I'm going to play this clip also from what Mark Penn had to say about the debate in his own words.
Well, she hasn't been defending them as of late and is distancing herself from them, Kamala Harris versus Joe Biden. So there's that point. And your reaction to any of that, Mark?
My reaction is I'm really concerned about what ABC did. When the refs put their finger on the scale, you got to throw out the score of the game. What would have happened in that debate had they challenged Harris and said, you know, that's not right, what you said there about Charlottesville.
Right.
We don't know how she would have reacted, and then Trump wouldn't have had to spend all his time on the defense end. I think they did a real disservice to the voters of America when they did that, and they put in jeopardy the institutions of debate.
Well, and look, for the candidate on your side of the political aisle, it might have helped her. You know, I mean, if you want to get sharp, you have to rub up against something that will sharpen you. And it might have even helped her quiet down those in your party who still have so many questions about her policies. Great to see you.
That's a fact. That's a fact. If Kamala could have come out, right, in a fair debate and at least stood her ground, right? That's all she had to do. Stood her ground in a fair debate. Oh, she'd be up right now. She would be up. Most definitely would be up. But everybody knows the only reason why she could stand her ground in this debate was because of the refs, was because of the moderators. Like he said, if she would have got called out on some of the lies that she was spewing, how was she going to react? When she got asked directly, are people better now or were they better 4 years ago? And she didn't answer the question directly. If the moderators would have said, hey, you didn't answer the question. This is the question. Can you answer that specific question? If she would have been held to the fire, right? It's a figure of speech, not literally. But yeah, if they would have pressed her on some of those questions, who knows? I think she would have fumbled, completely fumbled. I think she would have been stumbling all over the place. But if she would have been able to hold her ground, I'm telling you now, and I firmly believe this, and it doesn't make me happy to say this, but the truth is, if she was able to stand her ground against like the same treatment that Trump was getting, she would be up by like +4 or 5 right now. The election would be over. But she couldn't. And that's the problem. And everybody knows it, which is why they had to allegedly collude. And even then, right, Trump came out with the viral moments. People aren't going to remember entire debates. It's just not going to happen. But what people will remember are viral moments. And this is a trend right now. Check it out.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're
all right, we ain't gonna get no twerking on here, but y'all get the message, right? It's literally a trend on TikTok, right? Amongst other things, you know, his closing statement, right? Why haven't you done it for the past 3 years? You know, he has the viral moments, and the fact that the Kamala Harris team came out immediately afterwards and said, "Hey, we want another debate," tells you everything you need to know. Trump was correct when he said, hey, when a prize fighter loses a fight, they always demand a rematch. They always demand a rematch. If you won, you're not demanding a rematch. Everybody knows that. That's a fact. That's a fact. And I'm not even a boxing connoisseur, but I've seen that plenty of times. If you won the debate, if you beat him down, especially when you take into account the stance that she had before, because remember, Trump had agreed to 3 different debates, Fox, ABC, and I believe NBC. He agreed to all 3, and Kamala refused to agree to all 3. She just agreed to the ABC one, right? The one that we just saw. And I think she was like forced to, because I don't believe I don't think she actually wanted to, right? Because she would have agreed to NBC as well. All right, if you don't want to agree to Fox, maybe I understand that a little bit, but now after ABC, nah, you got to agree to Fox. And I think Trump took the perfect stance when he said, no, I'm not agreeing to any other debates right now. Not at all. Why would I? I won. You know, because now it puts the pressure on them because they're the ones that need this. They are the Kamala team. Kamala is the one that really needs another debate. Trump doesn't. We already know Trump's stance. We don't know Kamala's. I'm just saying. So I think he took the right stance. And if he does take the debate, it's got to be on his terms. It's got to be on Fox, and it's got to be with Jesse Waters and I don't know, Laura, or what's the guy? I can't think of his name now. I think he actually mentioned him when Fox, because he called into Fox after the debate, and they said, hey, Fox sent your team a letter, and these are the two people that are going to be the debate, moderators for you. And Trump was like, no, I don't want those two. Like, I'll do one with y'all, but not with those two moderators. No. And Trump is correct. Like, take your pick, Trump. I'm picking Jesse Waters, and like I said, Lawrence Jones, or Laura, or I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. The guy that did the Sean Hannity. I haven't always been the biggest fan of Sean Hannity. Y'all know that. I've had my statements about Sean Hannity in past videos, but it's going to be one of those three with Jesse Waters. That's who I'm taking. And Trump agreed actually with Jesse Waters being one of the moderators, but yeah, those are my picks. Y'all can let me know if y'all agree or disagree, but yeah, it's not looking good for Kamala over there. It's not looking good at all. Obviously, we shall see next week as more polls roll out. I don't see how there would be any type of change, especially with everybody exposing ABC. That's been like the talk, right? The ABC moderators. So yeah, I don't see a big shift happening. Like I said, if Kamala does get a bump, it's going to be like less than half of a point. And it's only the folks who are already, leaning towards Kamala, who basically already had their foot in the door, for Kamala. And that was just a few people. So it might not even be a 0.4. It might be like a 0.2% that she gained from that debate. 0.2, which in the grand scheme of things, that ain't affecting a whole lot, because Trump is going to pull away like crazy as we get closer to the debate. And you saw some of the independents leaning towards Trump after that debate. So yeah, I don't see that making a whole lot or affecting a whole lot. But anyway, y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.